I watch my neighbor harvest 5 peppers all season. I harvested 15 from one single plant last week. Same soil, same sunlight, same pepper variety. The difference came down to one pruning cut almost everyone skips. Most gardeners have been taught to prune peppers the wrong way. If you're only pinching the top, you could be leaving a lot of potential harvest on the table. Today, I'm going to show you the exact cut, the exact timing, and the simple pruning schedule that completely changed how my pepper plants grow. And before you grab your pruning shears, stay with me, because making this cut at the wrong time can actually reduce your harvest instead of increasing it. What most pruning videos get wrong. Here's the problem with most pepper pruning advice. They show one cut, call it topping, and leave it at that. The truth is that single cut is only a small part of what actually increases your harvest. What really matters is knowing which growth to remove, when to remove it, and when to leave the plant alone. A pepper plant only has so much energy. Every extra shoot competes with your fruit for that energy. Leave the plant untouched and it spreads that energy across low-value growth. Prune with intention and it redirects that same energy into stronger branches and more peppers. That's exactly what I'm going to show you today. 3 simple cuts, each made at a different stage of growth. Together, they form a pruning system that can dramatically increase your harvest. Cut 1, the first fork removal. Let's start with the cut that matters most and gets skipped the most. Gardeners call this the first fork, and what you do here decides how your entire plant grows for the rest of the season. Look at your pepper plant and find the very first Y-shaped split in the main stem, the point where it forks into 2 branches for the first time. Right at that fork, sitting between the 2 new branches, you'll usually find the plant's very first flower bud, sometimes called the king bud. Here's the part nobody explains. That first flower looks exciting because it's your plant's very first sign of fruit. But if you let it stay and develop into a pepper, your plant redirects a huge share of its early energy into that single fruit instead of building out its branch structure. You get one early pepper and a smaller, weaker plant for the rest of the season. Think about what that means over an entire growing season. That one early pepper might feel like a win in week 3, but you're trading a modest, single fruit today for a fraction of the branch structure your plant could have built instead. By the time other gardeners are celebrating their first pepper, your plant would already be quietly building the architecture for a dozen more. The fix: pinch off that first king bud the moment you see it, right at the fork. Use clean fingers or sanitized snips and remove just the flower bud itself, not the branches on either side. This single pinch tells the plant to stop investing in one early fruit and start investing in a stronger branching structure instead. Timing matters here more than almost anything else in this video. Do this only once your plant has reached its first true fork, usually somewhere around 8 to 10 inches tall, not before. Pinch it too early, before the plant has even reached that fork, and you gain nothing because there's no real branch structure yet to redirect energy into. Do this at the right moment, and here's what happens over the following weeks. Instead of one central stem carrying one early pepper, you get 2 strong branches from that fork, each one capable of carrying its own flowers later in the season. One cut, and you've effectively doubled your plant's future flowering capacity before it's even grown taller. This is the cut almost no pepper video mentions because it looks counterintuitive. You're removing the first sign of fruit on purpose. But this is exactly the kind of move commercial pepper growers use to maximize yield per plant, and it works the same way in your backyard bed or container. Cut 2, selective sucker removal. Once your plant has branched out from that first fork, a second problem starts building underneath the leaves, and this is the second cut almost nobody talks about correctly. Suckers: these are the small shoots that pop up in the joint where a leaf meets the main stem, low on the plant, usually below the first fork. On tomatoes, everyone knows to remove suckers. On peppers, most gardening content either ignores them completely or tells you to remove every single one, which is actually the wrong instruction. Here's the nuance that makes the difference. Suckers that grow low on the plant, close to the soil line, are pulling energy away from the upper branch structure without contributing much fruiting potential of their own, because they sit in shade and rarely get enough light to produce well. Suckers that grow slightly higher, closer to the first fork, can actually become productive secondary branches if you let them develop. The rule: remove any sucker growing below the lowest set of true leaves completely, right where it meets the stem. Leave any sucker growing at or just below the first fork alone and let it grow into a secondary branch. This distinction is exactly where the remove every sucker advice falls apart. Like it's removing every single sucker on a pepper plant, the way tomato advice tells you to, actually strips away branches that would have gone on to carry their own fruit. You're not trying to create one clean central stem like you would on a tomato. You're trying to selectively clear the low, unproductive growth while protecting the branches that are positioned to actually produce. Why this matters for airflow too. Removing the low suckers opens up space at the base of the plant, which dramatically improves air circulation around the stem. That lower zone is exactly where fungal issues like early blight tend to start, in the still, humid air trapped by excess low growth. Fewer low suckers means fewer places for that moisture to sit, which means a healthier stem for the rest of the season. Do this check once a week during active growth. Suckers regrow fast, and a plant you cleared last week can already have new low growth by the time you check again. This weekly sucker check is quick, usually under 2 minutes per plant, but skipping even 1 or 2 weeks lets low growth get established and start pulling energy before you notice it. One quick way to know you're identifying the right growth if you're new to this. A sucker will always emerge from the exact point where a leaf stem joins the main stalk, at an angle not straight up from bare stem. If you're ever unsure whether something is a sucker or a new main branch, look at its position relative to the first fork. Below the fork and close to the base, it's almost certainly a low sucker worth removing, at or above the fork. Treat it as a branch and let it develop. Cut 3, the late season top cut. There's a third cut, and this is the one that separates a decent harvest from the kind of harvest that makes your neighbors ask what you're doing differently. About 4 to 6 weeks before your expected first frost, or before the point in your season where growth naturally starts to slow, go back to the top of your plant and remove the growing tip of each main branch. This is called topping, but the timing here is what most videos get completely wrong. They tell you to top early in the season, which just delays your first harvest. The real value of this cut comes from doing it late. Here's the reasoning. Every plant reaches a point where it stops putting new energy into fresh growth and starts focusing entirely on ripening what's already there. By removing the growing tips late in the season, you're telling the plant, stop building new branches, stop setting new flowers that won't have time to mature anyway, and instead push everything you have left into the fruit that's already forming. Think about how many gardeners lose peppers to an early frost every single year, watching perfectly good fruit sitting green and unripe on the vine because the plant was still splitting its energy between new growth and old fruit right up until the cold hit. This one cut, done at the right moment, is what prevents that exact scenario. The cut itself is simple. Find the topmost growing point on each main branch and snip it off just above the last fully formed leaf. You're not removing large sections, just the very tip where new growth is actively forming. What you'll notice within about a week, the peppers already on the plant will start sizing up noticeably faster, walls will thicken, and color will develop more evenly, because the plant is no longer splitting its energy between new growth and existing fruit. This is the cut that takes a plant carrying a dozen small, slow-ripening peppers and turns it into a plant carrying a dozen larger, faster-ripening ones instead. If you're growing in containers, this cut matters even more than it does in ground. Container plants have a naturally more limited energy reserve than plants growing in open soil, so redirecting that reserve toward ripening late in the season has an even more noticeable effect. Don't skip this cut just because your plant is in a pot rather than a bed. If anything, prioritize it. The application rules. Here's exactly how to apply all 3 cuts without stressing your plant, because the technique behind these cuts matters just as much as the cuts themselves. This is the section most pruning videos rush through in about 10 seconds right before the video ends, and it's exactly why so many people try pruning once, damage a plant slightly, and never try again. Rule 1. Always prune in the morning, never in the heat of the afternoon. A plant that's just been cut is briefly more vulnerable, and morning pruning gives the wound the entire day to begin healing before the stress of peak afternoon heat. Rule 2. Use clean tools every single time. A quick wipe with rubbing alcohol between plants takes 10 seconds and prevents you from spreading disease from one pepper plant to the next through a dirty blade. This one habit alone prevents more plant loss over a season than most gardeners realize. Rule 3, and this is the one people skip constantly. Never remove more than about 25% of a plant's total growth in a single session. Even with the right cuts, taking too much at once shocks the plant and can actually slow it down instead of boosting it. If a plant needs heavier pruning, spread it across 2 sessions a few days apart instead of doing it all at once. Rule 4. After any pruning session, hold off on any liquid feed for at least 48 hours. Pruning and heavy feeding on the same day asks the plant to heal and process new nutrients at the same time, and it handles neither task particularly well when they're stacked together. Follow these 4 rules and you avoid the single biggest reason people try pruning once, see a plant look stressed for a few days, and assume pruning was the wrong move entirely. It wasn't the pruning, it was the technique around it. One more thing worth watching for after any of these cuts. A small amount of wilting on the day of pruning is completely normal and nothing to worry about. The plant is simply redirecting resources to the wound site. What's not normal is wilting that persists into the following day, or leaves that turn yellow at the edges within 48 hours. If you see that, it usually means either too much was removed in one session, or the cut happened during a heat spike rather than a cooler morning. Both are easy fixes for next time, not signs that pruning itself was a mistake. The master pruning schedule. Let's put all 3 cuts into one simple, repeatable system. Screenshot this section right now so you're never guessing which cut comes next. Early season, once your plant reaches 8 to 10 inches and shows its first fork, make the first fork removal, pinching that king bud the moment you see it. This is a one-time cut, not a repeating one. Throughout active growth, every single week, run your sucker check. Remove anything growing below your lowest set of true leaves. Leave anything at or just below the first fork alone to develop into a secondary branch. 4 to 6 weeks before your first expected frost or once growth naturally starts slowing down, run your late season top cut across every main branch. That's the entire system. 1 cut made once, 1 check made weekly, 1 cut made once late in the season. 3 simple actions spaced across the entire life of the plant, each one solving a different problem at exactly the moment your plant is ready for it. Notice what this schedule deliberately avoids. It never asks you to prune heavily more than once at any single stage. It never stacks multiple major cuts into the same week. That spacing is exactly why this system builds a stronger plant instead of repeatedly shocking a plant that's still trying to recover from the last cut. I also want to point out why the weekly sucker check is the backbone of this entire system, even though it's the smallest individual action. The first fork removal and the late season top cut are each a single moment in time. The sucker check is the ongoing discipline that protects the gains from both of those cuts. Skip the weekly check for even a month, and low growth quietly reestablishes itself, pulling energy right back away from the branch structure you worked to build early on. Save this schedule somewhere you'll actually see it, your phone, a gardening notebook, wherever works. The plants that don't see this yield jump almost never fail because the technique doesn't work. They fail because the weekly sucker check gets forgotten by week 3. And low growth quietly takes back the energy you worked to redirect. The results. So here's what actually happened when I ran this exact 3-cut system on my own pepper plants for a full season, side by side with untreated plants. The untreated plants followed the pattern most gardeners consider normal. Slow early growth, a handful of peppers scattered across a sprawling, leggy plant, and total counts that hovered around 5 to 6 usable peppers by the end of the season. That's the number my neighbor got too, and honestly the number most people quietly accept as just how pepper plants perform. The prune plants told a completely different story. By applying the first fork removal early, running the weekly sucker check throughout the season, and finishing with the late season top cut, those plants produced 15 or more usable peppers each, with noticeably thicker walls and more even coloring across the board. That's not a small edge. That's close to triple the output from 3 cuts that cost absolutely nothing beyond a clean blade and a few minutes a week. And the peppers themselves weren't just more numerous. Because the late season top cut redirected the plant's energy into ripening instead of new growth, the prune plants also ripened noticeably faster in the final few weeks, meaning more of the harvest was ready before the season actually ended, instead of sitting on the vine unripe when frost hit. If you've been letting your pepper plants grow wild and wondering why your harvest never matches what you see in other people's gardens, this is your sign. The answer was never a fertilizer, a soil amendment, or a special variety. It was 3 specific cuts made at 3 specific moments that almost nobody is teaching correctly. Think back to your own garden right now. If you've got a pepper plant out there this season that's already past that first fork, go check it today. There's a good chance that first king bud already turned into a small pepper weeks ago, and that's fine. It just means your plant spent its early energy the way most untouched plants do. The good news is the sucker check and the late season top cut still apply from wherever your plant is right now, so you don't need a fresh start to see the benefit. Save this video before you lose it in your feed because you'll want this exact schedule the moment your pepper plant hits that first fork. This isn't something you'll remember perfectly after watching it once. Screenshot the schedule and come back to it every week during active growth. And if this is your first time here, subscribe to Plant Space Collective for more zero-cost, zero-fluff gardening systems. No filler, no gimmicks, just real techniques and real numbers from real gardens, tested season after season before they ever make it into a video. Drop a comment and tell me how many peppers your plant produced last season, because I want to see exactly how much of a difference this makes for you. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.